We are on location.
Undisclosed location.
Yes.
We're doing a little recon for some upcoming events, but we'll get that into another time. But we got a lot of events coming up throughout the summer. A lot of different things going on. But so we're at an undisclosed location here doing a little recon for some future events that were going to be happening. But I'm going to start out today because we're getting some new cigars in that were released. Well, they said they were going to be released earlier in the year. Now they're just starting to trickle in.
Right.
So what do I got? The La Aroma de Cuba Connecticut.
Yep.
Which is different, and how they're describing it is, because usually most people, when you hear Connecticut or see a light wrapper, you think it's going to be very mild, not a lot of flavor a lot of times. But now these new Connecticut's coming out. I don't know how to describe it. It's not strong, but it's full of flavor. Full of flavor, but not like strong as like an Opus X or like a Liga or something.
It's not the nicotine content that's stronger. It's more full bodied, more flavor where you're, sometimes you get that Connecticut, an older styled Connecticut where it just kind of seems like you're just smoking air. Like there's not a lot to it.
That's what I do. Like I smoke a lot of Butera.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. But I like that as a morning or when I don't want something real full.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
That's why they make a million different cigars for everybody's taste. There's always a purpose for it.
That's how that wrapper is more mild and all this. But now but there's got to be more like in these to make it strong. Because do you believe you can get all that flavor from the wrapper? Wrapper's only one leaf, or the filler's the most of your
And that's where you're
cigar.
getting the strength. I think they're changing up the different types of binders that they're using, different types of filler. But it's not always easy. You just don't change the binder or the filler and slap it together. They've all got to work together. It's the most important part of the cigar is the combustion of the cigar, right?
So you got
so I mean, certain binders don't always work with certain wrappers. So it's
stronger tobacco has a harder time lighting and staying lit. So you got to mix in some lighter stuff to keep it burning.
Right.
Keep it burning.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of trial and error that goes into to these blends. It's not like one day they wake up and they say, hey, let's make a stronger Connecticut, or let's make a mild Maduro. Like it just, there's a lot of trial and error, a lot of work that goes into it.
But I'd like to, know about like with the wrapper, because obviously they had to grow this wrapper years ago.
Yeah.
But like, how do you test out? You can't plant acres and acres, and what if it doesn't work out? You think they do like a little test?
Oh yeah.
I don't know how much to get some out of it to see what it's going to be like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and in the cigar industry, they don't waste anything, right?
Well, they'll use it for something.
So they'll use it for something eventually. That may be 10 years from now. Who knows?
Yeah.
And it may not necessarily be in a premium hand-rolled cigar.
But this is starting out real nice, a little bit into it. Now I understand when they say Connecticut with flavor or with full flavor. Now I understand that. That was like the first time I remember years and years ago when somebody said, "Oh, you want dry wine?" I'm thinking, well, how the hell? No, really, how the hell could rye be? I said, well, let me try. And I tried it. I said, oh, now I know what you mean by because
I'm not a fan of dry wines.
No, me neither. But it was like I was on a cotton ball in my mouth, right?
How does that happen?
I don't know. But that's how this kind is. And now smoking it makes sense when they say.
So how would you compare that to, like, say, your Butera that you smoke or a Montesino?
Butera, Montesino, the burn's the same, the flavor's a little bit same, but now I'm getting into it a little bit, and there's a lot more flavor. There's a lot more strength in a Butera, a little bit more strength than a Montesino, because the Montesino is more medium to me.
Right.
But I could understand a little peppery on the back, but this is burning really nice. Now I understand what they mean by different, lighter wrapper than the Butera or the Montesino.
Yeah, I'm smoking the Camacho Nicaragua Robusto. This guy here is, it's starting off very well balanced. I like to smoke a lot of full body cigars. This is a full body cigar. But there's times where you could get a full body cigar and it just punches you right in the face as soon as you light it up, right? Well, this one so far has been very well balanced, very evenly, as far as the strength wise goes. I didn't get that punch in the face.
No. Like kind of like the Gaspard Intenso to me.
Yeah.
That hits you right from the beginning.
And the thing about that is, it discourages a lot of people, right? And the best part of the cigar ends up being the last third of the cigar, right? So if you could get through that initial strength of that cigar, it really mellows out. It really changes and gets really flavorful.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. These are really
And don't get any ideas like having somebody else smoke the first third of your cigar, and then you finish up the
one
best
thing you
part.
don't do. You don't pass a cigar around and share a cigar. I think we discussed that. In the
We've
past.
discussed that. Like,
know,
you're very adamant about that.
Don't share your cigar.
Do not do in the cigar business is
no.
sharing your cigar.
Just give someone a cigar.
And
That's
guess
what they're
what?
there for.
I see it more than I should.
Oh, I know, right?
More than I should. Here, try it. Well, first of all, taking one bang on somebody else's cigar.
It's not like try my bourbon. You want a little sip or a drink. You can't.
No.
You can't
Here,
get any flavor
take a
off
bang.
a bang.
No, first of all, you're tasting your buddy's saliva first.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do that. Well, I was thinking, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I was just thinking, I was sitting smoking a cigar, and I'm thinking over the years now, we opened the first store in 1996, and over the years, the places that probably I got to visit, and you probably got to visit, that we would have probably never seen in our lifetime because of cigars.
Never.
And some of the relationships and people we've met, and still are friends with till this day because of the cigars.
That have become lifelong friends that,
Oh,
we call for advice. They call us for advice. I'm going on a road trip. Hey, let me meet up with this guy, or let's plan my route of the road trip to go see a friend in the cigar industry.
Well, I did that when we were driving to Nashville. I stopped in Lexington, Kentucky to see our friend Jeff that has a store there, and we hung out for a couple hours and had a cigar. But it's nice to do it. But I was thinking way back then, I'm never going to have the opportunity to get to the Dominican Republic and see how this goes and how it transforms now being there. Who knows how many times. And seeing the whole process from growing the tobacco leaf to the curing barns, to the factories, the rolling, the box plant, the shipping, distribution.
I mean,
how it's full circle.
Going to see certain manufacturers that are totally vertically integrated versus some others that are not so much, and they rely on outside vendors. How about having the opportunity to blend our own brands?
Yeah.
Right. We've had maybe 4 or 5 different brands that we've blended for ourselves over the years. Not only to do that, but how about being in Honduras at the box factory of Camacho while they were working on our boxes that were going to be packaged with our cigars and sent to us in Northeast
when
Pennsylvania.
Camacho was making...
Right? And it wasn't planned. Like, we just happened to be on the tour there walking through, and that's what they were working on as we were doing our tour. It was, what are the chances of something like that happening?
Yeah, the only thing I could think about Honduras is... wow, that was an experience. You don't realize, I guess it's a Caribbean country, right?
Yeah.
But it's different than the Dominican Republic or even Nicaragua or anywhere else you might visit.
Oh, yeah.
And
some are more commercialized than others. Some are more geared towards tourism than others. And some really don't want you there.
No. Honduras.
There's no other way to put it.
Honduras.
They really don't want you there.
Honduras was, it was a great trip. I love going there with seeing the Camacho set up in operation, but we really didn't do or see any more than that. But that's a whole different. And that was how long ago?
That was over 20 years ago. We should have known how that was going to play out when we get to the, we get to the place we were staying, and there's 15-foot razor wire, barbed wire fences
with armed guards.
Armed guards like every 10 feet.
Yeah. And then they told us, don't leave the compound without us. So I didn't. I know how to follow directions. Most of the time.
Then you don't do that anymore.
There I would.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But just to see that, how that lifestyle, compared to the Dominican Republic. Now I know, you visit the Dominican Republic, go to the tourist area is completely different. Like, we spent some times like at Camp David Ranch and Blue Jack Tar, where it's a little bit more Puerto Plata.
Where you're not in the big time commercialized Bonao.
I remember when we went there the first time, and I don't know, that's where the Fuente farm. There are probably a lot of cigar companies, but Fuente Farms and some of their warehousing and their where they grow their tobacco is in that. And I remember when we went there the first time, and it's a small town village that had no central running water. Can you believe, and that's only 15 years ago, and they had no.
When they wanted water, they put big buckets on their head
and go to a central.
And they would go to the river or a central location that did have some water, and they would walk 4 or 5 miles each way to do it. And then not only that, they had to make a decision for their children. Are they going to walk to get water, or are they going to go to school?
Yeah.
Most often it was going to get water. You know,
But it
that's-
was a difference seeing that where it was only, I don't know, what was it, 2 hour or so drive out of like Santiago or something,
Yeah.
where it's a big commercialized city like anything we'd see here in America,
Yeah.
whether it be Philadelphia or, anything. And then a couple hours car ride out, and these people don't
Had
have
nothing.
basic life. Now, I think that changed the last time we were there. It seems to be
A little
getting
bit,
better.
yeah, a little bit better.
But that
know,
was the thing. Like,
It's 2023, and to think that there are people out there, that don't have running water, like we take it for granted. And another thing is, it was a couple hour drive out to these fields and these remote areas, but it's only about 20 miles.
Yeah.
Right. So put
Oh,
that
yeah,
into
it's just low,
perspective, where the infrastructure, the roads, the things like that it's not even close to that. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going on, up, down, barely falling off a cliff at times.
Yeah.
It's interesting, very interesting. The people that we've got to meet over the years, whether they're sports celebrities or business celebrities.
Yeah.
We've had guest speakers come in and talk at a lot of the trade shows that we've been able to go to. Just to name a few, was like, was it Terry Bowden at one convention?
I think you missed the one where it was Mike Krzyzewski.
I did.
Yeah, that was the one I think
yeah.
you missed. I really enjoyed him.
Yeah.
But yeah, was it Terry Bowden? And I loved him how he told the story, because where was he coaching at Auburn? And his father was Florida State.
Yeah.
So they were recruiting, I forget the guy's name, they're recruiting that quarterback coming out of high school, like the number one recruit. So he's recruiting him to go to Auburn. His father's recruiting him, of course, to go to Florida State. So he has a home visit set up, Terry does, at the parents, and he sits down and he talks to the mom and the dad and the kid, and puts it all out on the table what he's going to do for him at Auburn. And he says, as I'm leaving, I'm walking out of their house, and here comes my dad in, and with his mother and father there, you probably remember, with his mother and father there, he's coming in to recruit the same guy, and he had this plan, he knew, and he says to me, now don't forget, as soon as you get home, you better call your mommy. And he said, guess where this quarterback ended up going?
Florida State.
Florida State.
Florida
I forget
State.
his name, that was yours.
I mean, and there's a lot of athletes, pro athletes, that have recently got into the cigar business, right? Where they have cigars, they blend their own cigars type of deal. But I mean, over the years, we've been able to meet Karl Malone. We've been able to meet that Thiago Splitter played for the Spurs. John Sally was a speaker at one of our conventions.
Linebacker from Baltimore,
Ray Lewis. Yeah, I mean,
Tony Dorsett over the
and
years.
a lot of times, they're not just talking about sports. They're talking about life, how life relates to your professional, how your business. And to be able to meet guys at that level, simply would have not
Because
had
of
that
cigars.
opportunity, and it's all because of cigars.
And what do they say? Cigars is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from, what you do, don't do, age. And I've gone into a lot of places I would have never went in if it wasn't because it was a cigar place.
Yeah.
In a lot of places.
And not only
to do
having
that.
the opportunity to meet, celebrities and people in the manufacturing side, to meet some of the people that are on the same side that we are,
yeah.
right? How many different, brainstorming sessions have we had where we talked to other retailers, gotten some good ideas, shared our ideas with them. The cigar industry is pretty unique, where you don't really see that in very many other industries.
And we go to a lot of other, retailers and all different events that they have, whether they're dinners or just night outs or something, just because that's what we like to do. And that's a good way. And another one, you were talking about sports celebrity. Remember when we went to Cuba? So we went to Cuba years ago when you were able to go for that brief window.
Period of time. Yeah, we got lucky.
And then we arranged because we didn't want to stay in the tourist areas. We went on a cruise there, and we were there, I think, a day and a half or something.
Yeah.
So we arranged for transportation. We wanted to get out of the tourist area and go to cigar stores. And I don't remember the town, but we went to 4 or 5 different cigar stores throughout and hung out in all of them. But I remember the one we went was far. It was like 2 hours outside of Havana.
Yeah.
And the guy rolling the cigars right there, and he told us, and that was, now he does what he told us.
Yeah.
Don't know if it was truth, but that's where he rolls the double Lanceros, I believe, for Michael Jordan. And he orders, I don't know how many boxes a month they send to Michael Jordan double Lanceros.
Yeah.
I don't know if that guy was bullshitting us or not, but why would he? What would we bullshitting us for? What?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we weren't there like to buy thousands of cigars. We were there to buy a couple and smoke them.
Yeah. And now, when you're on the level that Michael Jordan is, he's gonna 9 times out of 10 these guys will be like, okay, I like the way that this guy rolls the cigar.
That's probably that guy
Right?
there was the only guy rolling it.
Nobody else is rolling that cigar for me. That's his one and only job.
Yep.
You know,
That's
is
it.
rolling cigars for Michael Jordan.
Probably. But
Yeah.
weren't they double Lanceros?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know how he smokes something like that. Once in a while, I'll do a Lancero, but
I don't know. I'd imagine when he's playing golf that thing's got to get in the way. I mean, it was probably like a 12-inch Lancero, which
it
is
was a big. But they were some of the great things, and over the years, just hanging out in cigar bars, different, not on a cigar trip, in Las Vegas last year or the year before, and we're just sitting in the cigar lounge, late morning, early afternoon. There's only about 5-6 of us in there, and one of them was Luke Bryan.
Luke Bryan,
right? Sitting there smoking a cigar, playing blackjack. And there was only like 6-7 of us,
And he was smoking a Davidoff, right? And we got to talk, and we were sitting down, hanging out, just normal people smoking a cigar. And I think because he was smoking a cigar, and because we were smoking a cigar, he took the time to sit down and
talk with us for a few minutes and talk to us. But it was not fun to that.
One thing he didn't do was give us or ask for any advice on blackjack. He must have been watching.
But he should have, because we had a pretty good night that night, or the next night.
But, probably about 14 hours later, we left that hotel.
No,
and he was still there.
No, but how about this, though? Because this was late morning, early afternoon, I don't know, maybe around lunchtime, and we were there, and he thought, and then he left, but we sat, and we see him like 9-10 o'clock that night, and he says, "Holy shit, your boy's still here." I don't know where he went. He left, if he was staying there or what. Maybe at a concert. I don't know.
We don't go out without a fight, and luckily we stayed in at that night. It turned out it was pretty epic. It was a good night. It was a good night. But all those opportunities coming to us, just because of cigar, and I know it's coming to a lot of you the same way.
Absolutely, it's the great equalizer.
Yeah.
To do that. Well, I think we talked a lot. I'm kind of talked out. I'm going to finish. I'm not putting this one down, though.
That's a nice smoke.
This is a nice smoke. Did we get the full allotment in yet?
Any day.
Any day.
They just began shipping, so just a matter of time until they come in.
I could smoke this.
I think that's going to be a home run. I really do.
No doubt about it.
I really do.
Yeah.
So, till next time, enjoy your cigars.